Yeah, so hi, we're Routestock. Our background is in film, music, broadcast, and putting on live events. But the thing we want to do is particularly have a venue of our own. So we came across this old church, basically, this old tin church, Victorian tin church. And we fell in love with that, and we purchased the building. And then we started doing our own events with those local communities, but bringing in people from various backgrounds and musicians which were kind of emerging. And one artist, particularly local artist, Evan Parker, who's an incredible, world-renowned saxophonist, he was in this predicament that he could no longer travel, as a result of COVID. And the issue with him was that he worked with a lot of international artists, and he couldn't do that and couldn't travel. So we thought, well, how can we connect those people up? So we started looking into this, and we found a system, an open source kind of system and software we could develop so we could allow that latency to be down to like next to nothing. We're working about sort of 25 to 30 milliseconds, which is a very short amount of time. So what happened from that, we created a performance in the Hot Tin and a performance in Hamburg, in Germany, where we had an ensemble there, an ensemble at the Hot Tin, and they were playing together with next to no sort of latency, and they felt like they were all in the same room. Our only issue was we had a video feed, but the video feed was so slow, as we always experience, through Zoom and wherever, that obviously that was way out of sync. It was nice to see them there, but we didn't have that real kind of connectivity. So we thought, how can we bridge that?
Yeah, and it was really interesting because at the same time, Screen South were sending emails over, and one particular email caught my eye, which was a lab to do with VR, a VR lab. And so we thought, well, let's have a look, and we came to one of the labs, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah, and we learned a lot from coming to that first workshop, that the technology, particularly VR technology and gaming technology, was really running apace. And we always thought and not got involved with any of it before because it's always associated with gaming, But what opened up, and particularly from Simon and Myra from Bright Black, they really sort of showed to us that really, there's a missing market here, particularly with within various different cultures, through storytelling, through music, lots of areas in performance as well, where all this technology is not being used, and it's a real opportunity. And it particularly was good for what we were trying to do as well, because the big problem we had was actually how are we going to kind of mirror what we're doing with sound to get this low latency between the performers in different countries. With avatars, the data is, the stream is very small, so it's like audio. You can send it long distances very quickly. So I thought, how can we do that, and particularly in a live setting, not pre-recorded. So this was kind of something new, and it got everyone kind of thinking in the room,
Yeah, the aim really is that how can we get people from different parts of the world to play together in real time, be on one stage. Some people can't afford to move around. Some people would prefer not to have themselves as in their real form, perhaps an avatar which you could use through the gaming world. How do we do that? And could this be something in the future? Which we found that, there is a real demand for that.
One of the other things that we wanted to use, and it's an older technology that doesn't really get used often, it's a thing called Pepper's Ghost. So it's something that was developed by someone called John Pepper in Victorian times. So basically he created this kind of illusion on stage that there's this kind of like ghost on the stage, and the audience was on one side. So by creating this kind of piece of glass or this sort of film, you could project onto that to give that illusion of everyone's on stage at the same time. So we kind of brought that up to date and did that with avatars. So once again, Screen South came to the rescue there. So they gave us a space within the building for us to build this rig and then connect up with that. We had some performers in Sweden, and we managed to get some funding to develop this project, so we could get some motion capture kit. So we got that into Sweden, and then we had a turntablist this end, and then we had our Swedish musicians who were sending the data, and we created the avatars and projected them onto the Pepper's Grove screen. It created this amazing illusion, and we were doing it in real time with basically, near zero latency. So it was a live performance, and it was quite groundbreaking and amazing, really. And what was great about it is what the artists were getting from it themselves as well, of this unification of being in the same room. And we're going to start to work with other sort of visual artists as well, so visual artists can produce their projections onto stage as well, along with the musicians. So there's more and more to it, really, and we're starting to develop the technology a bit more now, because with some of this technology, the motion capture technology, it's quite expensive, but we're starting to now use just mobile phones to capture that body movement through machine learning, and then we can work with that in Unreal and present that in a live performance setting with live musicians on stage. So the next steps are really for us is to really kind of really democratize it, so it's available to other musicians in other parts of the world.